Hey guys, this is MattKids101 with Java Lesson 5. In this Java lesson, you're going to learn if statements, which are a very important part in programming. So first of all, I'm going to create a new Java project, Java tool, and I'm going to call it if statements. Save it to my desktop. Now I'm going to go under source, if statements.java, and edit this file. So I'm going to get rid of all this and put in some code. So, first, let me explain what an if statement does. An if statement compares two things or checks if something is true or false. In this case, we're going to do both. So, here's what we're going to do first. We're going to compare two ints. So I'm going to make int I equals 2 and int I1 equals 2. And now we're going to do system.out.println, checking if, and now I'm going to do this, and are equal. Okay, so now I'll say if I equals I1. This is the code right in between these two curly braces that will happen if this condition is true. So if I is the same as I1, represented by this double equals that's comparing them, then it'll go to this code. So let me just go over this one more time. One equals assigns a value. 2 equals compares a value. So I'm doing if I equals I1. Now, this is the code that'll happen if they are equal. Right here, I'm going to say system.out.println, and actually, I'll just copy this. And I'll just get rid of this. So there we go. So now, it'll print out that they are, in fact, equal. Now, if they're not equal, I'm going to say they're not equal, so I'm going to say else. Now, all the code between this curly brace and this curly brace is going to happen otherwise. So if I does not equal I1. So right here, that they are not equal. And that's how to compare integers. So if I run this, sorry, I accidentally put an L there instead of a semicolon. So if I run this, and I go into the console, here we go. Checking if 2 and 2 are equal, 2 and 2 are equal. So if I change I1 to be 3, and I run the console, are not equal. So I'll go back to 2. So now I'll repeat this process for strings. Now comparing a string is different. I'm going to declare string A equals quote I quote, and I'm going to do string A1 equals quote high quote. Now, here's an interesting thing. I'm going to print out the same thing, checking if A equals A1. But I decide maybe I want to put A and A1 in quotes, so that way people know they're strings. So, here's a question. How do I put a quote in a string? And that's a good question. What you do for that, you do backslash quote. Just like backslash n, backslash, all those things, backslash quote will put a quote inside of quotes. So, backslash quote, and then I'll put another quote, do A, and now I'll do another backslash quote. There we go. So another thing is double backslash puts one backslash in because otherwise it wouldn't work perfectly because yeah. So I'm checking if A and A1 are equal. So I'm going to say if, and here's how to compare two strings. You can't do if A equals A1. That doesn't work. You have to do A dot equals left parenthesis A1 right parenthesis. Now, here's an interesting thing. Classes, such as a string, have functions on them, or methods, whatever you want to call them. Now, the string class happens to have a function on it called equals. And if you pass equals a string, it'll return a Boolean for whether they are equal or not. Now, Boolean is either true or false. So, we're calling a function on A to see if it's equal to A1. So we're passing equals A1. That's how you pass stuff. Then, if it's true, which if checks, if it's true, then it'll go to this. So I'll say system, or no, I'll copy this again. There we go. Now I'll say else, and here's the code here. So this will work too. I'll run it. Run my console. Checking if high and high are equal. High and high are equal. So now if I change this to high 1, high and high 1 are not equal. So there you have it. So now I'm going to do another thing for Booleans. I'm going to say Boolean B equals true. So now I'll do system.out.print line checking if, now I'll add B, so it'll either put true or false in this, is true. So I'm going to check if B is true. And the way you do this is just if B. And now I'll do system.out.print line true, and else system.out.print line false. Okay, so now I'll build and go. Now run. Checking if true is true. True. Now I'll change B to be false. It'll say checking if false is true. False. So, here's another thing we're going to do. If you want to check if something is not true, but you don't want to have to do if this else. So say we want to know if B is not true. You do if exclamation point B. Exclamation point reverses it. So right here up with I, if I do instead of equals equals, if I do exclamation point equals, then I build and go. Then I run my console. It'll say 2 and 2 are not equal because I did an exclamation point. So exclamation point reverses practically everything. So if I put a bang before here, exclamation point before here, then it'll say that high and high are not equal. So high and high are not equal. So I'll just get rid of this exclamation point. So if I say exclamation point B, it'll check if it's false. So I'll just change this to false. I'll run it. And I'll go. Checking if false is false. True. If I make this true, I'm pretty certain that you get this idea. So this is how to use if statements. So this opens a big barrier for you guys. Next time I am going to be doing a more advanced thing, so get ready. Anyway, thanks for watching Mac Kids 101. Subscribe and goodbye.